Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Daniel Davis Deep Dive Special Edition version. We've got a real treat for you today. We've been talking about the Kursk offensive and that all the way back to last August. We've been showing you the progress as the Russia has been slowly whittling it down. And then all of a sudden, starting about on the 8th of March, there was a big push. And then down to now today, just literally a couple of forest patches left. But we've now got somebody who was actually on the ground in that area. And we have joining us for the first time today, Elizaveta Igorevna, who is a war correspondent in the Special Forces Unit, Arbat, and she is coming to us live from southern Russia. First of all, welcome to the show. Really glad to have you here.
Hello. Yeah, nice to meet you.
Yeah, I wonder if you can tell our folks here just a little bit about you, because I mean, you seem really young for somebody to be in this position here, and right there at the front lines. I wonder if you could tell us a little bit about how you became a journalist and how you came to the front lines.
Well, to tell the truth, I am getting my law degree, and journalism is something was unusual for me for last 2 years. But when the special military operation started, this was so painful for me because my country entered a very specific war, I can say, and I couldn't just watch it from the side. And I decided to join our Special Forces unit to become more closer to it and to help my country from the sides I can do. Of course, I'm not a military person and I'm not a soldier, but my weapon is my camera, and I'm doing my best to help my country from the side I can do it.
And what does your family think? Are they concerned for you? Are they proud of you? How does that work?
Of course, they are very worried because I don't went I don't know, to the sea to to sit under the palms and join my best life. Of course, it is very dangerous, but they proud of me and they support me. What is very important for me. I always try to be in contact with them, and I think everything is okay.
Well, listen, that's we really appreciate it. Look, we had people on our show. Sometimes they're very much pro-Ukraine. Sometimes we have folks that are pro on the Russian side, because we think it's really important here to show both sides of this issue, and especially on this day when the President of the United States and the President of Russia have just concluded a phone call to try and bring this war to an end. We think it's really important to give voice to all different sides so people can get an understanding for themselves about what's really going on here. We in the West too often have a very skewed view of what's actually happening, because everything goes through the lens of what's appropriate or permissible on the Western side. So we're hoping that you can come and give us, a real information today of what the no kidding real side is at the point of contact on the Russian side. So in that regard, again, welcome to the show, but thank you for being willing to come on our show.
Thank you.
So just to set the stage for anybody who may not know, first of all, I want to show you this clip from Sky News, which kind of shows what has happened in the recent past up to right now in the Kursk region.
The Ukrainians are holding on still to a little bit of a sliver, about 15 kilometers wide, of southern Kursk region. They've been pushed out of the main area of Sudza, so they've lost the enclave, which they did have from last August, but they've been able to get out. There's been a bit of a scramble over the weekend. They've lost some men, they've certainly lost some equipment, but they certainly have not been surrounded, so they're now moving back onto their own side of the border. In effect, the Kursk operation is now finished. The question we have to ask ourselves is, while these 15,000 Ukrainian troops have withdrawn, the 60,000 Russian troops who were in Kursk to throw them out, 60,000, they will undoubtedly be redeployed. So where will they be redeployed? It'll take 2 or 3 weeks, give them a bit of rest and rehabilitation, give them a bit of retraining and re-equipment. They'll turn up somewhere else on the battlefield. Where? My guess is it'll be somewhere around Pokrovsk, because in this area, in Pokrovsk, in Chaziv Yar, in Kostiantynivka, all of the areas around here are the areas where the Russians really want to make a strategic gain.
Now, I want to ask, right, that we'll stick with the last part that he said there, is that after the final amount of the Ukraine has been pushed back to the state border, has been reestablished, his understanding is that then the Russian formation, these 60,000 people, will stop what they're doing there and then redeploy elsewhere back to Pokrovsk. But I've seen some information on some of the Russian Telegram channels which say to the contrary, they're going to continue going on into the Sumy region and possibly set up some kind of a buffer zone. What is really the case there as far as you know?
Well, on Friday, the authorities of the Sum region decided to forcibly evacuate residents of 8 settlements in the region. And the reason was the aggravation of the operational situation. The corresponding decision was made by the Regional Defense Council and the local command of the Ukrainian Armed Forces. A total of 533 people will be evacuated. Our president, Vladimir Putin, announced on the 19th of February that the Russian armed forces crossed the border of the Kursk region. And on the 9th of March, the Russian Defense Ministry reported that Russian fighters had crossed the border and taken control of Novinka. It is located in the Sum region of the Ukraine. And in March, the chief of the General Staff of the Russian Federation Army, General Valery Gerasimov, also reported on the breakthrough into the territory of Ukraine when he reported on the situation to Putin, who had arrived in the Kursk region, as we all know. And in certain areas, Russia units crossed the state border and entered the Sum region, where they continued to destroy enemy reserves and expand the security zones. That says Gerasimov. He reported it to our president. And also Putin told Gerasimov that our task is to completely liberate the territory of the Kursk region and restore the situation along the state border. And of course, I would ask you to think about creating a security zone along the state border in the future. That were the words of our president to the Gerasimov. And as we see, Russian troops entered the Sum region several days ago, and these reconnaissance groups and special forces groups that cut off the bottleneck that connected the enemy group in the Suja with the Sum region. And the Ukrainian armed forces tried to transfer equipment, personnel, provisions, and so on until the last moment. When the enemy's defense collapsed and he suffers heavily, loses on some section of the front, according of the rules of military art, force are usually increased. And further success is developed in the front of an offensive. And the visit of Russian President Vladimir Putin in military uniform, I think it's very important to the Kursk region, and its statement about the buffer zone indicates that the order to enter the Sum region with the forces of the Kursk group has already been given to the moment when our president was in the Kursk region. And Moscow's conditions will become even tougher if Russian soldiers manage to occupy significant territory there. And I think that the buffer sanitary zone that our president mentioned will also be created in the adjacent regions. This is main topic, and I think it's connected not only with the Sum region. The Kharkov region is nearby, part of which is already like under us, and over 70 settlements. It's a huge number. I mean, and it seems to me that, yeah.
What about in the Chernihiv region to the west of that? Is that also part of the possibility?
I think so.
So that's a pretty broad. So it sounds like that, unlike what the expert there in UK said, that maybe those troops are not going to redeploy and go back to Pokrovsk on the east, but they're going to continue to go in south there. Is that what you understand?
It seems to me that the issue will be resolved in a comprehensive manner to enter the territory of Sum and at the same time increase our efforts in the Kharkov region.
I see. So let me ask you, one of the other questions I had here is What are the Ukrainian armed forces? Are they still a viable force? Is their morale weakened? Because I mean, haven't held that for nearly 7 months, and then to been forcibly ejected back to their country. Will they fight harder? What is your estimate of the Ukrainian capabilities?
I think that it is worth nothing that the Ukrainian armed forces are now intensively using aviation, and if in the Kursk direction, F-16s were noted at a distance from the LBS. Today, footage appeared of American fighters flying over some, and they will most likely follow up with strikes, I think, on the Belgorod region. However, the modifications that Ukraine cannot compete like as it will sound correctly, one-on-one in an air battle. A comprehensive approach is needed with the involvement of the ground component of air defense and aviation and radar countermeasures, which can ensure the result. An advantage in the air and counteraction to carriers of guided aerial bombs. Ukraine constantly experiences a shortage of anti-aircraft guided missiles for foreign systems. But anyway, aviation of Ukrainian armed forces are still working. It's working in the Suja, that it was really near us, and they continue to use it.
Speaking of the Ukraine side and how they were fighting, it appeared that not it appeared that, but from the August of 2024, when they first made the incursion and they went to the, they carved out that pocket. Then the Russian side at first blocked them, so they couldn't go any further, and then they started this slow and methodical squeezing of it down. Now, for the first number of months, there wasn't much progress. It was just kind of a stalemate. And then around November or December, it started moving a little bit faster. But then in about, as I called it, about the 8th of March, it seemed that there was a big breakthrough. Something big changed. The first one was with the Russians used this gas pipeline, which they used to get into the rear around Suja. And then that seemed to just collapse the whole front much, much faster than the previous 7 months. And I wonder if you can explain what happened with that operation and why did it go so fast at the end?
Well, I see the situation like this. The enemy, I mean, the Ukrainian armed forces, involved our territory so violently in the August 2024, killing our civilians and doing some awful things. And the Ukrainian armed forces redirected all their forces here, foreign mercenaries, all the NATO equipment, the best drone troops. And it took us time to fight back competitively and beautifully, I will say so. And look how correctly we started with the Operation Stream, for example. Our troops here on Kursk direction land especially united and made like every effort to prevent protected invasion of the Ukrainian armed forces on our Kursk land. And I'm sure that in this area of the special military operation, we're very close to victory today. And for me, as a woman, this was the best gift for the 8th of March, when our Russian troops made so fantastic operation and started to take back our territories so fast.
And do you have any idea why that is? What, after the slow progress up to the 8th of March, what is it that caused such big chunks of territory to be captured by the Russians after that?
It just because we needed some time to give back to our enemy. Because as I said earlier, the army of Ukraine was doing their best, and redirected their best equipment, best people, best troops to the Kursk region, and in some way Russia didn't wasn't ready for it. And I don't think that some months was like a lot of time to give it back. So I think everything is under our control.
So I want to ask you a question related to that. Now, to a Western mind, 7 months sounds like a long time. It's like, well, why did they not move faster, et cetera? But from your perspective, and apparently from the Russians' mentality, 7 months is not a big deal. Now, that's really important when you're talking about what may happen from this point forward, because there is some suggestion that because it's taken Russia this long, 3+ years to take the whatever it is, 25% or so, that it may take possibly another year of fighting for them to actually win if there's no ceasefire. We'll talk about that in a second. But in terms of the Russian mentality and their willingness, is if they knew that it would take another full year of fighting, would the Russian side be willing to do that?
Of course, we will do it because this special military operation is so important and so painful for all of us, for my country, for my people. And of course, no matter how many minutes, how many days, or how many months or years it will take to solve this military operation from the side we see it, we will continue to do what our state asked us to do.
Now, there are some experts in the West, we played on a show earlier today, that they believe that Russia is, quote, on the mat, that they're almost going to collapse, that their economy won't hold together, and that they actually can't stay together and fight that long. Do you believe that?
I will say so, that it's very like two-sided question. Because of course we all understand that war is terrible, and we all pray for it to end soon. But I think that not a single soldier will deviate from the goal intentionally set before us. Like, these ceasefire conditions are repeated by us one way or another every day, and through internet resources, news, and so on. But until our new territories, I mean Donbass, Zaporozhskaya Oblast, and Khersonskaya Oblast, Kursk direction, and Belgorod are completely cleared, until the last Ukrainian soldier leaves our lands, until NATO weapons continue to fly into our cities, our army will continue to fulfill the tasks set before it. The pain of the war, I ask you to note, since 2014, not 2022, is too great to lay down arms and trust another, I'm sorry, mean businessman's tricks due to the cunning of some Trump. Our president will not allow us to lose our land, our sovereignty, and what is important, our people. And we will defend this to the end.
And I guess no matter how long it takes, that's the mentality of the fighters.
Yes, there's the mentality of fighters, and what is more important, there's the mentality of Russian soul.
I got it. Thank you. One other thing related to the fighting here in the Kursk area. Lots of news in the West was almost says one thing and then another in terms of North Korean soldiers. Some claim that there were never any North Korean soldiers there, and then others say, no, there were actually about 10,000 of them. Do you know from your firsthand experience what the truth was?
Oh, I'm so sorry, but I cannot comment this item, because it's a special item for both for our side, so I can't comment it. I'm sorry.
No problem at all. I got it. You got some rules, no problem. Next question. Let's look. Okay, we've talked about the Ukrainian side, and as I understand, you're saying that they fought very tough. They were good fighters. They brought lots of equipment in. They had lots of drones and Western kit, etc. But over time, the Russian side overwhelmed them. Do you still consider the Ukrainians now where they are back on their territory will continue to fight just as hard?
Well, as I understand, that in Ukraine it will be another flow of intelligence and weapons from the European countries, and I don't know about nowadays situation, because, as you know, it's changing every minute, I guess, and I don't know what decided the United States of America, especially after the latest news. We will see it in some days, I guess. But anyway, the enemy is trying to do its best to use its weapons and its army to fight back, especially in the Kursk region. No matter that, as we see the success of Russian troops, Ukrainian army is continuing to fight, and they fight not really bad, I will say so. So, as I know from my information, they redirected some of the elite drone troops to the Kursk region after we take Suja. So they want to fight, and they don't want to stop.
Now, speaking of the drones, a lot of reports say that they're up to 80% of the drones, especially the FPV drones, not the wire-guided ones, the fiber optic cables, but the regular FPV drones, that maybe 80% of those are taken down by electronic warfare means, EW means. To what extent do you see the drone attack from the Ukraine side against the Russians? Is that effective, partially effective, or very effective?
Well, anyway, drones are very effective. I will say so, because I think that is the best weapon in the modern war. And some time ago, we had less progress in drones than our enemy, and this is a real fact, unfortunately. But it took us, as you see, 3 years to take a revenge, and now our drones troops, I can say that it is the same as Ukrainian troops. So we fight on the one hand. So, but anyway, yes, drones is the best weapon nowadays.
I see. And if you can't answer this, that's fine. But what are the best ways to defend against drone warfare?
Oh, wow. That's a very difficult question. I think it depends on territory where you're located. And of course, I can say that unfortunately, a civilian can hide from drone in most of the cases. But of course, when we're talking about the soldiers, they find ways to stop drones and not to hurt by the drones. But it all depends on the cases.
I see. Next question was, from my impression from reading a lot of the Telegram channels, the quotes and other publications, etc., it seems like that there is a resurgence in Russian morale and motivation over the last 3 or 4 months. And I don't know if it's just because Trump was elected and he changed the course of action from the United States to, complete support to now he wants the war to come to an end, or whether it's something else. But is that appreciation or observation correct? Has there been a change in the improvement of the morale of the Russian side?
Well, I will say so that, of course, every healthy person in the world wants every single war to be end. But as I told earlier, we will not allow ourselves to repeat Minsk 1 Minsk 2, Istanbul. We will not allow it. We are all very grateful to President Trump for his desire to end the special military operation, but maybe maybe I will sound a little bit rude, but let Mr. Trump make a small turn to the Middle East and see what is happening there. I don't want to seem rude, but it seems that we spoke about the conditions of the ceasefire quite clearly and even early before the special military operation began. And we repeatedly, starting from the 2014, proposed resolving the conflict without the armed invitation, but no one was listening to us. And now, after all these terrible things and after this terrible 3 years, our army, our soldiers, our civilians just became more together. And if this war needed to be continued for another 3 years, we will do it. Of course, we're all tired of this war because no one wants our people die, nor our people, nor Ukrainian people. It's all terrible. But we want this war to be ended on our conditions, as we told several years ago, and speaking about it till nowadays.
There was a phone call today between Vladimir Putin and Trump on that issue. And Trump's goal, as he has been saying very clearly, that he wants this war to be over with literally within weeks. He went in trying to get a 30-day ceasefire. Now, according to what we have, and this is just breaking as we're coming on the air here, so I don't have a lot of details, but at least so far from what we've read from the Russian readout of that meeting is that they have agreed to, I think it's a 30-day ceasefire on energy infrastructure on both sides. So Ukraine can't launch strikes into Moscow or into the deep part of Russia, and the Russians won't launch into energy infrastructure inside Ukraine, but no comment about stopping the fighting on the ground. In the event that the two sides can't come together and there won't be a ceasefire, or that the conditions that you've mentioned that Putin has about what the final result has to be, if the West doesn't agree to that, will Russia just continue to fight on, even if it goes, well, you just said even if it went 3 more years, you'd keep fighting. But how far would Russia go if there's no agreement? Do you know that?
Well, I think, you see, it's too hard to make predictions now because we all see that the situation is changing daily, and maybe today our president just made a call and tomorrow we will end this war. Nobody knows. But based on the today's call of our presidents, there are no specifics again. Right now, there is fire on all front lines. I mean all fronts line, no, not on the Kursk region, and which means that as long as it continues, we will stand firm. Our president said that until a single soldier will be on the Donbass, Zaporozhskaya Oblast, Khersonskaya Oblast, and our Russian land, this war won't be ended. As we see, Ukrainian armed forces and Ukrainian government doesn't change anything for 3 years. And until now, of course, we had this dialogue with Mr. Trump. But as we said these words before, we're saying this now, and nothing is changing. So I think we just need some time to see.
I see. And again, this is a question maybe you can't answer. If not, no problem. But one of the things that I've read on a number of Telegram channels, especially Russian side, is that the 4 oblasts you just mentioned, that's what was from that President Putin mentioned last summer in June 14th. But there are also, as is pointed out, a large number of ethnic Russians on the other side, on the Ukraine side of those 4 oblasts, that also want protections. And the concern is that if the Russians agree to a ceasefire or an end of war on the 4 oblasts, that will leave a bunch of other Russians not protected. Did the soldiers that you fight with, do they have any concerns about those Russians?
Well, I will say so that I think that every single soldier and every single civilian in Russia wants Odessa to become Russia. But well, our president didn't make any statements about it. And our statements was only about these 4 regions that I told you about. And I think firstly we need to solve these problems and then go and search for another ones.
Yeah, the most important thing that we've been talking about since the beginning of this war has been that it needs to be over with as soon as possible, and in a way that will lead to a permanent end, not just wait until it starts again 3 or 4 years later, like has happened in the past. So we're certainly in supportive of that. And I wonder if you can tell us before we let you go. There's Gary showing some video here that I think you shot. Tell us what we're seeing right here.
Yes, this video was taken in Olgovka, which was taken by our troops in October. But no matter that it was taken until nowadays, Ukrainian armed forces continue to hit to these points. Yes, in the video, this administrative building that was hit by the Ukrainian armed forces. There were civilians inside for some time, and they like to do these war crimes, unfortunately. And in Kursk region specifically, there are a lot of them. As you know, maybe about the point Ruskaya Porechная, it's like a real fascism. Which was happening there, because Ukrainian soldiers and foreign mercenaries, they were having fun there with our civilians, and I hope that they will face it one day and understand what they did right, they did wrong.
I see. And Gary, I think there's one more video. Yeah, what is this one right here? Can you tell us about this?
Oh yes, it was like way to Sudzha with my my unit Arbat. We entered Sudzha a week ago with other of our units, and yes, this is a terrible video because all the buildings you see on the video, this is houses of civilians, and while you're walking through these houses, through these territories, you can see a lot of murdered people there, and this is all war crimes, and it is terrible to see. Our troops doesn't do the same things with the Ukrainian ones, and that's terrible.
Yeah, that's just one of the reasons why I definitely join with President Trump and his comments that he wants this over quickly. He wants the killing to stop on both sides of the line. I have personally been of the view that there is no reason why the West and Russia can't at least live effectively and calmly together. If they don't best friends, that's sometime distance in the future, but we can definitely have good cooperative relations right now if we get this war to an end and solve the issues that caused it on both sides, or it's just going to start again. But we are very grateful for you coming on today to sharing with us, and we hope to have you back on soon.
Thank you so much.
And thank you guys very much too. Be sure and like and subscribe if you haven't done so before. We are grateful for you to come on because we are unintimidated and uncompromised to bring you all sides of this issue, and we're going to continue doing that as well. We're still looking at our schedule. We may come back later this afternoon if we can get some more information on what actually has come out with this conversation, now that we have a readout from both the White House and the Kremlin, and we'll bring you any of that we get a chance this afternoon. And if not, we'll definitely bring it to you tomorrow. Just watch our channel for any future shows, and we'll look forward to seeing you then on the Daniel Davis Deep Dive.